Everybody ready?
All right. Okay. Well, hey, productive week. Obviously, we got through third readings on Monday and now are working through Senate bills, and it feels like we're off to a pretty fast start and look forward to working with our Senate colleagues. It's hard to believe we're 3 weeks away from getting near the finish line. So looking forward to finishing strong and working through some of the outstanding issues.
Mr. Speaker, this week we reported that Diego Morales, Secretary of State's office, did not file the proper declaration of form candidates with the election board and Secretary of State's office. Any thoughts? I know you're up for re-election, a lot of your members are up for re-election, and it affects literally every member of the House of Representatives.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it was a clerical issue, and we just recommended our members that they just go refile again, just for the sake of certainty. But look, nobody's gonna get removed from the ballot. I'm confident nobody will get removed from the ballot based upon a clerical issue when the candidate did, what they need to do, and it seems like that issue's being resolved.
Mr. Speaker, why was Senate Bill 76 not brought up for a second reading? What's causing the holdup?
Yeah, there was just a lot of amendments to go through, short period of time. We had a bunch of members absent today. We wanted to make sure we talked it all through.
Is there anything going on behind closed doors? Any amendments that you're concerned about? Maybe
no. It was really just a timing issue.
Mr. Speaker, Haley, we talked about this earlier this week. You and I, Haley Busby's family, calling for Haley's Law to be passed. Any more work this week on possible amendments that could be added to bills that deal with some of the things that they're asking for?
Yeah, I think we talked about on the alert issue. Representative McNamara, Representative Jeter, Senator Walker, Kyle Walker, others are working. I've obviously been involved on trying to make sure that we address any concerns around the alert issue that we've heard about. I want to be like Fisher's Police did a phenomenal job. This should not be viewed as any criticism of them. They did a phenomenal job. They're amazing people. We just want to make sure that in a case like this, if there's a way make sure notification is done properly, we make sure it's done.
So is there still time to get something done on this?
Yeah. I mean, as you guys know, it's not going to be a brand new bill because all the bills have been introduced and stuff like that. But they've identified opportunities to put new language in the second half that would, again, maybe clarify that issue around the alert system.
Can you share what bill it might be?
I don't know. No.
Mr. Speaker, the Ten Commandments bill was not on the third reading calendar on Monday. Why was that? Was there not support for it?
Yeah, I think as the bill got changed and amended, I think there was a concern about where the bill ended in that final spot. So there wouldn't have been support for that bill. So no need to have it on the calendar.
Was the concern because it wasn't going to be required to be posted in classrooms?
I think the concern was it was saying that you couldn't read the Ten Commandments. I don't think that was the intent of the author.
The House has made several changes to Senate Bill 76, making it look more like last year's Fairness Act. How confident are you that the Senate will also support those changes?
I don't know. I know it's been a cooperative work between Representative Prescott, Chairman Jeter, and our Senate colleagues. But ultimately, they'll get a bill back from us. They'll have to make a decision.
Speaker, on township mergers, your chamber passed a bill. The Senate has a different bill with slightly different language. How do you work through those, and which one do you think is kind of the better approach?
Well, I would, look, I think both are trying to resolve or work on the same issue, just slightly different paths to get there. I'm encouraged that we have two bills moving on that subject. Each chamber has passed something. Now it's up to us to see if we can't find a sweet spot between those two bills. And I'm confident between, Representative Schonkweiler, Chairman May, Senator Niemeyer, that we want to get something done, and we just have to work through what that something is between the two houses.
Why did you take the luxury car bill off the calendar?
There were some issues with it, and just didn't feel like it needed to be on the calendar on Monday.
What were the issues with that?
There were just some issues, Tom.
There's been several walkouts throughout the state of, students protesting ICE. Obviously, the immigration bill would, to my understanding, require schools to comply with ICE. What would you say to those students who are concerned about, the actions that have been taken by the agency?
Well, look, I think it's great that kids care and they're civically involved and making their voices known. I think that's important. I don't think they should interrupt and disrupt the academic day to do it. I think that's a mistake, but I'm glad that they're making their voices known, their concerns known. That's part of the process, and I'm glad that the kids are active.
But what would you say to them? Maybe they're concerned like ICE is going to come in and maybe drag a kid out of a classroom. I think that's
well. Again, all the bill does is working to make sure that we enforce our immigration laws, and that's what the intent of the bill is. And we have laws in this country; they need to be enforced.
Would it give ICE access to schools though, where they can go into schools physically?
It would. Well, let me.
Is that the intention of the bill?
No, I mean, again, the intention of the bill is to make sure that we enforce our laws, and that's what that's the bill we passed last year. It was noted, a similar bill this year.
Immigration's always been the purview of the federal government. How did you guys sort of thread that needle to make sure that local and state governments can enforce immigration law? Statehouse basically been the purview.
Well, I think it's cooperating, Abdul. I think the key word of this is cooperation, and again, that is the federal government, and we're just the bill's intent to find that cooperation between them.
The state for several years has had process for intervening with struggling school districts, and this year with the IPS bill and some others, there's more district specific. Why taking approach of responding to individual districts, and how do you make that?
Which districts?
The Senate talked for a while about having an appointed South Bend School Board and things like that. Did Muncie a few years back in Gary and other. Why is I can't speak about Senate bills, but I don't think that bill moved, right? So I think, obviously in those instances, and in the Gary and Muncie instances, they weren't financially solvent. The state had to step in. On IPS, as we've talked about before, I'm a strong supporter of a strong, sustainable IPS. I think this new governance model and the cooperation between the mayor and the board and other schools, I think, is a way to make sure that we have a strong IPS. And I've been, like I've said before, super impressed by the process in which the mayor and Dr. Johnson have worked through it. And I feel like it's a really good bill. I'm sure the Senate will have some ideas that we're talking to them on, but we've tried to stay with the recommendations, the 8-1 recommendations of the committee, and we continue to have those conversations with all the parties.
What's the move in the House on Senator Crider's needle exchange bill?
Haven't really talked about it.
There's a bill that would allow data centers with county approval to build on old farmland. What was the impetus behind this?
Is that House Bill 1333?
Yes, that is.
Yeah, I think House Bill 1333 we acknowledge has some challenges to it. It would not, that bill probably is on life support at best, there are things that have to work their way through the process, and I think that has to see major changes. Representative Culp knows it. Our Senate colleagues know it. We understand. We've heard those concerns. We want to make sure they're addressed. That's why there's a process to make sure things don't get rushed through.
What is the future data centers in Indiana?
Again, I think we've talked about this before. I think communities need to get all their facts and get all the things aligned to it, and then make decisions. But there are obviously huge economic development opportunities, and I think it's so important that all the stakeholders listen and hear and hear the concerns of the community, but the community also understands what the opportunities are.
Can you talk about the decision to not allow Representative Clear to caucus with Republicans now for the rest of the
Sure, and I like Representative Clear. We've always had a good relationship. Representative Clear, I think we felt like, kind of opted out, and so that was the decision that was made by his comments.
This week, President Trump made his comments about the federal government should take over elections. What do you think about that being, and how should states, including Indiana, respond?
Well, look, I'm proud of our elections. I'm proud of the way we ran our elections. I would view those as being the purview of the state.
All right.
No one's going to ask me about the Bears.
I'll ask you. So how are the Bears looking to become the Gary Toxic Avengers?
Look, it went out today that I am now the sponsor on that bill. If that tells you, my interest in getting it done, and I'm going to spend the next 2 days up in Lake County and Porter County having conversations with local elected officials. We do everything we can. I think it's an incredible economic opportunity for Northwest Indiana and for the state of Indiana, and hopefully we'll be moving something forward soon.
Who's handling the negotiations on that for the state?
Look, Governor Raw and his team have done a fantastic job. It's been a cooperative effort. So,
Will those conversations with local officials include team officials as well?
not team officials. Yep. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good afternoon. I didn't mean to ask you a question. I don't know why.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, what do you think?